Well, thanks very much to Boris and to our hosts in Georgia for the invitation to come and speak here. I think that we've all lived now for nearly a generation, for 25 years, in a world that's defined by neoliberal globalization and by war. In fact, we can say, I think, that the neoconservative foreign policy, most evident under George W. Bush, but still practiced in the United States and by its allies, is the has its armed wing in the neoconservative foreign policy, an armed wing of the neoliberal economic policy. That these are two sides of the same coin. If you didn't realise it from the ideologues of neoliberalism, their version of capitalism is defined by a renewed and more volatile form of international competition. But market competition on a global scale never ends in the economic realm. It always involves conflicts between states and their armed forces. Economic competition produces military competition and war. The period of renewed global competition has produced a series of conflicts. The first Gulf War, the Balkan War, the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, in Libya, threats now to Syria, and of course you had your own direct experience of this conflict in 2008 here in Georgia. I believe that this conflict has had a renewed sharpness since the onset of the global economic crisis in 2008. And everywhere you look in the globe now, the ordinary people of the countries which are afflicted by neoliberalism and neoconservative foreign policy have begun a global process of revolt. The demonstrations that I was involved in organising in Britain had their counterparts around the world, and the 15th of February 2003 was the largest ever single global day of revolt. But we have seen as significant, if not more significant, revolts since in Greece, in Spain, in Brazil, in Turkey, and the Arab revolutions, of course, greater than them all. And we're here to say that there has to be an alternative to a world which is determined by the great states and the great corporations. Because a world run by these people is producing a fracture between the entire governmental structure and what ordinary people who produce the wealth, who are the majority in the society, want. This is described in my country, said to be the oldest democratic country in the world, as the democratic deficit. In reality, it's a system crisis. a system crisis where the governing elites no longer have support among very large swathes of the population. And our business is to try and produce from amongst ourselves, from those movements, an alternative to a system that's defined by economic crisis and war.